Today is the first rally we have in April. And April, for those who don't know, is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. For those who don't know, I am autistic myself, and I am a professional autism advocate. A lot of the work I do is helping people understand autism, working with autistic individuals of all different ages, and professional speaking about autism. And I've shared some of that information here before. I do think a lot of it is important to social justice, to the work we're trying to do. Specifically because it relates to how we understand each other, how we understand humanity and the people around us and the communities that we want to build. So I want to take Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month to just talk about a few things that I've heard directly from autistic people that I personally, even as an autistic individual, found incredibly enlightening and has really stuck with me through my time. So today, I want to talk about the quote, "I just want to vibe." The quote, "I just want to vibe," is something I think about regularly. I heard it when I was doing something for Tony Richards' Leadership Academy, which is now called By, With, and For, which is a leadership academy focused on autistic individuals, or at least that program was. And I was facilitating it. And one of the exercises was to ask the autistic participants, what do you want? What are you looking for? What do you want to get out of this course? What do you want for your future? And they're going through their answers, and one person answers, "I don't know, I just want to vibe." And the person running the person overseeing the course, the only person there who wasn't autistic, had no idea what they meant by that. But every single other person on the call, all the autistic participants, and the 3 autistic facilitators, which included myself, immediately knew what they meant by that. It clicked exactly. And while discussing to the person overseeing it what that meant and why we each caught it exactly immediately, it really gave me a lot of insight into part of what we miss about the autistic experience, something that we could understand about autistic people to the benefit of autistic people. So what did it mean when they said, "I just want to vibe"? Well, I think the best way to describe it is to talk about it in a very literal sense, not in these grand gestures of, well, what could vibe mean and what could it mean to be and get to go through this world, but simply, if they're saying "I just want to vibe," it implies that they are not vibing. So why aren't they vibing? And when discussing that, it became very clear that a lot of our answers, a lot of the reasons we all felt we couldn't just vibe, were very similar. They all fell along the lines of, it seems there's some secret rules and understandings that everybody else has that I don't, and people just kind of expect me to do. Everybody is just figuring everything out, getting through, they know how it works, they know what they need to do, and I don't. And it seems like they get to vibe. They get to catch this rhythm of life and just go with it. But for so many autistic people, the rhythm of life is defined by traction. It's defined by hitting brick walls, hitting spaces where people don't understand you, where people aren't willing to work with you, where people aren't willing to put in the effort to even get to know you. An example of this that haunts me to this very day is when I was in elementary school. When I was in elementary school, I really liked learning, which you think would be a really, really good thing. But I also had a learning disability, so I asked a lot of questions. And multiple times, once to my parents directly, teachers complained about me being purposefully disruptive in class, thinking that I was trying to cause problems. I was trying to slow the class down. I just didn't want to be there. And this shocked me because I couldn't understand. As an autistic individual, I'm sitting in this world and I'm going, people sent me to school to learn, I wanted to learn, I tried to learn in school, and I got in trouble for it. And the next time I had a question, I looked around and I saw the other kids who were going to look at me weird, the teacher who was going to be annoyed, and I thought of how different I was going to feel. And I didn't raise my hand. And suddenly, the things I want to do are filled with friction, But the things I don't want to do mean giving up parts of myself that I care about, giving up that ability to learn, that ability to ask organic, real questions I have, that ability to engage with life messily until I figure it out. I think the more I think about that line, I just want to vibe, the less I think it's actually about somebody's ability to get through life, and the more I think it's about somebody's perspective on getting through life. When we often think of getting through, apologies, that just keeps hitting me in the wrong spot. When we often think about getting through life, including as a neurotypical or disabled person, we think about it as something that you simply work hard and get. It is a direct result from how hard you work. But for so many autistic people, when we work hard, when we engage, when we try, when we get messy, when we make mistakes, things that are all part of learning for neurotypical children, we're faced with these scenarios where it doesn't feel like that space is being offered. I'm not allowed to ask too many questions, or I get some unique, special type of disappointment in me, a unique, special type of in trouble for the unique ways I'm causing issues. And that, I think, relates so heavily to what we do here. Because in order to support communities, we have to understand that they feel that they are on the outside of so many of the systems that allow us to go through life, and understand that to learn, to figure that out, things are going to have to get messy. We're not all just going to be able to vibe. We're all not going to just learn the right things and suddenly it all makes sense. For so much of us, we're going to have to come up here from any oppressed community and talk about the difficulties that come from that community, how it makes life messier, it makes things more difficult, because growing up in places where you're dealing with a lot can lead to you making messy decisions, bad decisions, hurtful decisions at times. And in order to understand communities, we have to understand that they are fighting a battle full of friction. We are craving the ability to just vibe in our society, but we just can't quite get it. It reminds me of a bit of the comic book, of the graphic novel Flamers, one of the two books that was challenged in Newtown. Towards the end of the book, there is a moment where where the main character is talking about how he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't feel like any of the other boys, but whenever he tries to be one of the other boys, they see right through him and tell him he's different. And towards the end of the book, somebody who seems to genuinely want the best for them comes up to them and has this conversation where he's like, hey dude, just act normal. Just do it normally and everything will be fine. And the main character responds, I don't know how to do it normally. When I try to do it normally, everybody sees right through it. And he's like, yeah, because you're faking it. You just have to do it normal because you're normal. And that's at least what I got from that scene. This idea that you're stuck between a rock and the hard place because the only way out was to never have these feelings at all. The only way out was to always have been vibing. But there are people out there who just want to vibe. People out there who are trying to find their space. And it's going to require us understanding that they don't fit into the spaces that they've been given. And we have to deal with that harsh reality and the results that come from it. The messy results. A messy society. Because if we want to move forward, we cannot just focus on making things perfect in some objective, okay, so we have these resources for autistic people with these things and these things and these things, and these will all help them. If we really want to know we're helping autistic people, when we ask them what do they want, they're going to have more clear-cut answers. They're going to know what they want. They're going to have comfortability navigating this world. And while we still live in a world where another autistic person can just say, I just want to vibe, and every other autistic person in the call goes, completely get what you mean. I think that is a very powerful barometer for how far we've come, but also how far we have to go. Thank you.